if we study yoga and we love yoga, and there are pieces of the culture that feel very real and meaningful to us, like saying namaste, or like using mala beads, or even having a picture of ourselves in a yoga pose. But are those things that we shouldn't be doing unless we are full-fledged Hindu Indians? Is it cultural appropriation otherwise? Can you maintain your own religion and still say namaste and use mala beads and other aspects of yoga without feeling badly? Of course. Of course. Look, just as many people who point the finger that way point it the other way, which is why I wasn't sure which way you were asking. Because, of course, as many people as who say, oh, you shouldn't appropriate these aspects of the culture, are people who say, well, it's not really yoga unless you say namaste and use mala beads and all of that. So it's people everywhere are tragically, and it's not by any means only in the world of yoga. What's tragic is that it is also in the world of yoga. We expect it in some other areas. We would like not to expect it in the world of yoga. But here's the thing. Yoga comes out of a religious tradition that is called Sanatan Dharma. Okay? I'm not going to go into a full history here, but the word Hindu is not a word given to the religion actually by the practicers of it. Okay? It's a word that was given about the people of an Indus Valley civilization who lived on the banks of the Sindhu River by people who couldn't say S and so who said H, or in India they say H. So they said Hindu instead of Sindhu. And so the people on the banks of the Sindhu River became the Hindus. Sanatan Dharma literally means an eternal way of life. Now, if it's eternal by time, no beginning, no end, it also has to be eternal by space. If something is really eternal, it doesn't just mean it exists right here in this square foot of space from beginning to end. If it's really eternal, it's an omnipresent, never born, never dies, ever present, everywhere way of life, Dharma. Now, that is not about where you were born. It is not about the color of your skin. It is not about which name or form you worship the divine in. But it is about some very core truths. Now, if you asked 10 Hindus what are the core tenets of Hinduism, you'd get 10 different answers, which is the beauty of the Hindu tradition. But there are some that are pretty much always agreed upon that have to do, for example, with the idea of the presence of the divine in the creation. And so in all of our worship ceremonies, for example, when we offer the 5 elements, right, all of the pujas have fire, earth, typically in the form of flowers, air and ether, so you've got incense and you've frequently got, the waving of and water. Why do we offer the 5 elements? Because everything is made of the 5 elements, and it's a way of reminding us it's not that God needs our flowers, God gave us the flowers. It's not that God needs the water, God gave us the water. We offer them to remind us, oh yeah, these elements are sacred. Which then of course means, oh yeah, everything is sacred. So that's a pretty universally agreed upon core tenet of Sanatan Dharma. Another is that there are an innumerable different ways to worship God. Non-violence, truthfulness, right? You look at the yamas and the niyamas of yoga, they could pretty much be the 10 commandments of Sanatan Dharma. Now I mention that right here because to use prayer beads, mala, to say namaste, namaste literally means the divine in me bows to the divine in you. That is beautiful. But it requires a belief, A, that the core of who I am is divine, and also that the core of who you are is divine, which means by default that you and I are one. If what's inside me is the same as what's inside you, which is the divine, which is infinite, then we must be one. If you believe, subscribe to, are committed to these tenets, these truths, by all means incorporate them in your life. But don't let them be accessories. And that's an important distinction between, I would say, the cultural appropriation and the embrace of a culture that really is universal. If it speaks to you in truth, and it is a truth that you will live and walk, whether you are Christian or Jewish or Muslim or atheist or agnostic, whatever you may be. Because these tenets, of course, apply. It doesn't matter what your religion is. There's no tenet of Sanatan Dharma that says thou shalt worship the divine by this name or this form or this way. But there does have to be, if you're going to use them. So for example, our mala beads are used to take the name of God. So if taking the name of God on prayer beads speaks to you, use them. If when you say namaste, you are connecting the divine within you to the divine within that person, either successfully or in an attempt to be successful. It's not that you have to be there before you can use it. By doing it, it reminds us. That's wonderful. But if yoga is just physical exercise for you, and it's just about a trend, and it's just about being in shape, and there's no internal connection within you to the truth of a tradition that says it's all God, it's all sacred, it's why I bow to it all. I mean, we bow to the trees, we bow to the tulsi plant before we pluck a leaf. We don't pluck flowers in the night because they're sleeping. Really? Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly beautiful, tiny little aspects of the culture. If they speak to you, absolutely. Use them, embrace them, appropriate them. No problem, make them yours. It is a universal tradition. But there also is a tendency to use them simply as accessories. Try to avoid that because it's not in the service of your truth. Whether it's mala beads as an accessory or diamond earrings as an accessory. Either way, if it's only about a statement, this is cool, this is trendy, this will make you like me more, this will make you think I am more of something, don't do it. Either way, because it's not in your truth. So make sure that whatever aspects you're using are part of your truth, and then by all means, every Hindu text gives you permission. Because there's nowhere that says, in order to do this, you must first believe that. Other than these core concepts. If you are really able to take all 10 of the yamas and the niyamas, if that's the beginning and end of Sanatan Dharma, spiritual philosophy that you know, but you can really live them on the deepest, corest, fullest level, then it's a practice of yoga. And yoga's union. And if mala beads help you unite, fantastic. If bowing to the divine in others with namaste helps you unite and remember rather than, high-fiving, fantastic.